Now we are supposed to go with Companies Act 2013, which is a revised Companies Act. Charter Secretaries of London, even they are eligible to be a secretary of Indian company secretaries. A company secretary should also possess the following special qualifications. The first one is knowledge of company law. Here you need to understand that why is that they should know about the knowledge of economics and knowledge of general knowledge. The reason here is hello everybody, a warm welcome to one and all. I'm Abhilash Chandra from the Department of Commerce and Management in Vidhyaashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence. Welcome to all the students here, and this chapter, that is the secretary, is very important. The second chapter, the first session, you are supposed to know what exactly a secretary is all about. Now, according to the 1956 Companies Act, according to them, the company secretary is a person who should get enrolled in the chapter of secretaryship in India. Now here you need to understand what exactly it is, right? What are the qualifications? What are the appointment procedure? What are the roles, duties, functions of a secretary you are supposed to understand? So here a company secretary means a person who is a member of the Institute of Company Secretary of India. That means that person is also considered as a company secretary whose name is registered, and he is a person who is a member of the Institute of Company Secretary of India. Secondly, according to the section 2 subsection 45 of the Companies Act 1956, please understand 1956 is the Companies Act which we used to practice. Now we are supposed to go with Companies Act 2013, which is a revised Companies Act. Now secretary means any individual. It's like any individual possessing the prescribed qualification, appointed to perform the duties which may be performed by the secretary under the act. Now which act? 1956 Act. And any other ministerial or administrative duties. Now that person is called a company secretary. Now here you need to understand the legal status about company secretary. What are the legal status of the company secretary? The first one here is the Companies Act 1956 impose certain statutory obligation. Now obligation means duties which a company secretary should do it on the secretary of the company, but law does not define his exact position. Now the duties will be actually given, but what exactly happens is it changes according to the organization structure which the organization really wants the secretary to do it. Next is from the nature of functions performed by a secretary, we can have some idea about the legal position of the company secretary. So we cannot actually go with statutory obligation kind, we can actually go, but law does not define exact position. That is one we got to know. Next one here is we can actually go with the legal position, that is a legal position of a company secretary. Next is according to the law of the land. Law of the land means what? Now if it is India, it is about the Indian law. If it is London, it's all about the London law. A secretary is merely a servant of the company working under full control of the board of directors of the company. That means you have BOD, that is board of directors. Now they are the one who will actually check that what a company secretary should do and what a company secretary should not do it. So company secretary will always be below the board of directors. So it is according to the law of land. Now the next one is qualification of a secretary. Now what is the qualification of a secretary? The first one is, since the amendment of Companies Act 1994, please understand these are the years, these are the terms which you are supposed to know, that is amendment. Now the act is 1994. Only a person having prescribed qualification can be appointed as secretary of a company. Now, what are the qualifications? I'll tell you here. Apart from the statutory qualification, he should also have other qualifications. See, the first thing is statutory qualification, other is other qualification as may be necessary to conduct the affair of the company. Now you have two. One is statutory statutory, and one more is the other qualification. Now I'll tell you each and everything, that is what are the statutory qualification and what are the other qualification. Now statutory qualification is divided into few of the topics. Now I'll just tell you the statutory qualification first, then we'll go with the other qualification. Now in case of company having paid up share capital, what is it? Paid up share capital of rupees 50 lakhs, of rupees how much? 50 lakhs or more. The secretary must be a member of Institute of Company Secretaries of India, incorporated under the Companies Act 1956. Now it is the 2013 Companies, and licensed under Section 25 of that Act. That means any company who have a share paid up capital of 50 lakh or more, they should have a company secretary who should get a qualified secretary from the Institute of Company Secretary of India Incorporated, and they are supposed to get a license, that too under Section 25 of that Act. Now this is what the first statutory obligation which they are supposed to go, that is a statutory qualification. Second is a person who is a member of the Institute of Chartered Secretary of London. See here they have given one more, that is London, shall also be eligible for appointment as secretary of such a company. That means not just India, even if you go with their have given a provision saying that anybody who have been a secretary under the Charter Secretaries of London, even they are eligible to be a secretary of Indian company secretaries. One more statutory here I have given you here is, in case of any other company, one or more of the following qualifications shall have to be possessed by the secretary. Now it depends on the other statutory qualification what the company requires. The next one here is qualifications specified in clause A above. In the sense here you need to understand, that is what we went with it, that is more than 50 lakh rupees share paid up capital, whoever have, they are supposed to go with it. Next is a degree in law granted by any university, a law granted by any university. If say you are practicing in India, you are supposed to have a law degree of India. Next is membership of the Institute of Chartered Accountant of India. They can also be a member of Institute of Chartered Accountant, CA. Next is membership of Institute of Cost and Work Account of India. So you have ICWA, right? Even if you are a member of ICWA, you are eligible to be a company secretary. That means you can be a chartered accountant, you can be a ICWA, or you can be a ICS, that is Indian Company Secretaryship. Now a postgraduate degree or a diploma in management granted by any university or the Indian Institute of Management, that is IIM. If you have, you can be a person who is eligible to be a company secretary. But here you need to understand, here the share, that is a paid up share capital, should be less than 50 lakh. Only then you can be a member. But here what happens is, if it is more than 50, you are supposed to be a member of Indian Company Secretary ship, kind of a certificate you are supposed to get. Now a postgraduate degree in commerce granted by any university. Even if you take a PG course, you have done MCom, MBA, all those kind of a thing, that too in commerce, then you can go for a company secretaryship. The last one here is a diploma in company law, granted by any Indian law institute. Even that is also what you can be a person called as a company secretaryship. So these are the statutory qualification to be a company secretaryship. Next one we have is the other qualification. Now what are the other qualification? The first one is, in order to be a company secretary, statutory qualification are not enough. You are supposed to have these things, that is a company secretary should also possess the following special qualification. The first one is knowledge of company law. Now a person who wants to be a company secretary and he doesn't know anything about company, now what is the use of having a company secretary? The reason you have a company secretary is, half of the promoters will not be qualified to be a company secretary. The reason is they don't have the statutory qualification or the basic qualification. They appoint a person who knows the affair of how to handle the entire company and how to go with it. So he or she need to know, that is from A to Z, about the company law. Say you have a company law of 1956, company law of 2013, you have a mercantile law, you have so many factory act, you have wages, you have labor law, all those things. That is why you are supposed to know the knowledge of company law. The secretary must know the detailed provisions of the Companies Act and its implications. He must have the knowledge of rules of meeting. Now, you are supposed to know the rules and regulation of whatever the procedure and the programs you people conduct in the company. Knowledge of mercantile law. Now, most of the companies carry on their business as mercantile firm and have act according to the different provision of mercantile law, including the Contract Act. Now you should know what exactly the Contract Act is, Sales of Goods Act, Negotiable Instrument Act, MRTP Act, and Insurance Act, etc. So the person should know in and out about all the clauses, all the acts, what are the process, what are the procedure, how to register the company, everything a company secretary should know. The other one is knowledge of economics and general knowledge. See, these are the basic and other qualification which a company secretary should have. That is, in order to handle economic problem of the company, the secretary should have a sound knowledge of economics, theoretical and practical, generally money market, capital market, and financial institutions. So all these things a company secretary should actually go with. Next is the secretary must have sound general knowledge. He must have thorough acquaintance with social, political, and economical condition of the country. Now, here you need to understand that why is that they should know about the knowledge of economics and knowledge of general knowledge. The reason here is, if you people handle about what is happening in the dynamic nature of the company secretary should withstand all the odds, and he should always be there protecting the business from the micro environment as well as the macro environment. So the person, whoever becomes a company secretary, he or she should actually juggle with all these economical problems like demand and supply, if you have political situation which has come, technological kind of a thing. Now company secretary should always be like a backbone for the entire company, and he should always go for more productivity, and he should be very careful, and he should determine all the top level management whatever happens, and he should always help the board of directors in making decisions. Next one is he should know about general knowledge. The reason here is he should be aware of what's happening, and he should always get updated with all the things whichever he should. And when he goes with more of general knowledge, what happens is he can take up a good decision for the benefit of the company, because company is always a perpetual succession where a company secretary should act like a backbone, and he should support the system inside and out. So these are the qualifications which a company secretary should possess. I have told you about statutory as well as the other qualification. Now if you have any doubts regarding the company secretary, students, please do call us. We are always there to help you. Now I have given you two of the qualification, that is, one is statutory, where if more than 50 lakhs paid up capital share if you have from any of the company, whether it is a private company or a public company, you should have a mandatory, you should have a company secretary who has been certified by the Institute of Company Secretaryship. If you have less than that, you can actually hire anybody, whoever have completed post-graduation in commerce or who have actually taken a diploma in company law in India, within India, right? And also we got to know the other qualification where I have given you in a brief that what all qualification he or she need to possess. So if you feel like joining a company secretaryship, or if you want to be a company secretary, I'll tell you Vidhyaashram is the college which is giving all education for the company secretaryship in Vidhyaashram itself. So you can enroll yourself and you can take the benefit of the faculties who are really good and experienced. Thank you so much. I'll see you when I see you.